Hey guys, Mustached here to review the movie This Is Not a Test. So, this is another smaller movie from what I can tell. Didn't see any trailers for it, but I did come across it. And it's also inspired by a book, or adapted from a book at the very least, of the same title. So we start with a character named Sloane, who seems very down in the dumps, all the way down into suicide territory. We learn very quickly that she has an abusive dad. However, the world is built to go through quite the ordeal as people outside start freaking out. We don't learn how they do it, which I think is a strong aspect of zombies. We're doing a zombie movie, yes indeed. The dad tackles one of the said zombies, and he gets bit in the process. She runs off, and one day passes, as we then skip to her being inside a school with a few other students. She is joined by a small group. I think there's like 3 or 4 or 5 other students there. So they're kind of sticking together. One of them kills zombie principal and they proceed to block the doors to the school from the outside going inside, so that they are quote-unquote trapped on the inside, as it were. But Sloane splits off. Once she has a little alone time, we cut back to one day. She's covered in blood, and we see how that sort of came to be. We sort of continue to see her running from the zombie horde, and even initially bumping into some of the other students, including Carrie and Grace, one of the students, as I mentioned earlier. The one that killed the principal zombie. They are her and one other brother character have a mom who is with them, and they initially make their way toward this rec center that is overrun with people currently, as they sort of begin to backtrack from that location and go toward her house, the mom's house. The mom argues with Carrie about what to do. There's a lot of leadership issue going on here. We cut back as we are following Sloane again. What it was like before the infection toward the school, at least with her and her sister, that being. But that memory is short-lived. It was her birthday. She received some type of gift, and then Carrie takes out another zombie as we've transitioned it back into the current timeline. And as they flee, the mom gets hoarded by, on their way to the school, by a zombie horde. And the rest of the group get snagged, including Sloane, and one of the others saves her via a baseball bat, but the blood splatters across her face. That's why she's all blood-stricken across the face. She held on to both notes, and we learn more about her backstory, about her leaving, the sister leaving, Lily, leaving the situation due to the abusive father. Trace is the son character, by the way. It's yes, their names are a little harder to remember here, but I digress. As he and Carrie are having a debacle, which leads to a little bit of a guy fight about what to do. But water is still running at this juncture, so Sloane gets to clear off some of the blood, excuse me. at least some of the blood. So we have Trace and Grace, so their names rhyme, who was the daughter. They were left behind in this, or they think they were. And they think Carrie was responsible in looking outward and like calling out that there were nothing there, and then the zombie horde popping in. So, unfortunately, as Sloane is jogging about, the zombies start hitting outside the school. They bear the noise for that night, but Sloane moves her location to try to get to a spot that is far more quiet. When a gas station somewhere off in the distance gets hit, the zombies that are bonking on the door shuffle away. So most of the group heads out, and they find themselves some alcohol and share it for the good of just having a good old drink, while playing a game of Never Have I Ever. We see some bizarre flashbacks of the dad being all zombified, of Sloane. But I digress. They're woken up the next day and find a Mr. Baxter. He was the one who was actually shuffling about. He has a gun, which is taken by one of the students. He has a flirtatious thing going on for Sloane, which is creepy in it of itself. But to make matters even worse, is he was bit already, it would seem. Now, he tries to imply, based on the rules that we're now, establishing, is that if you were bit, I guess, by a newer zombie, then you don't get infected, I guess is the implication here. But they don't believe him. And they would make him much rather leave. So he baits one of the students into opening the door, and then he bites Carrie. So they have to, Carrie has to take care of his bite now. And again, I guess he's also not infected based off of the rule we just learned, I guess. But Carrie, not too shortly after, is gonna get himself some good old times with Grace, which leads Sloane to make out with the other guy that's available in the group. Meanwhile, Carrie is let out after some time, checking the boiler room where the guy claimed to have came from and seeing how he got in. His story seemed to be legit based on what he was saying. And it is here where they begin to argue, because they've now been in here for quite some time, whether to stay in their position of the school or to leave. However, the teacher is back via another. After leaving, he made his way back. He's grabbed or bitten another time. This bite, for whatever reason, transforms him into zombie, and then he bites the Grace. So Grace dies. And Trace, after the fact, attacks Sloane, blaming her for not dealing with the situation in a better way, I guess. But she reads a message from her sister that was from some time ago, or from the time, I guess, the days ago or day ago, however long it was. Point being is that once that is established, Sloane figures she might as well go out there and see if she can get to her sister. But not after that Trace decides to kill himself via headshot. So Sloane, Carrie, and Sloane's boyfriend, whose name I don't remember. He's like the only character I don't know his name at all, quite frankly. Begin to head out. Outside, that is. But the zombies begin to rise. They use a car alarm to create some distance, however. They make their way under a house. And Carrie heads out as a distraction. We do not see him for the rest of the movie, so now it is just Sloane and her boyfriend, I guess. So they hide under the house a little bit longer to make sure it is clear. They clear it by waiting and climb into the house. The sister Sloane sees her sister Lily, who is now infected, and has to kill her, but tosses the suicide note while keeping the note that she, Lily, had given her via the birthday gift. And this is toward their drive toward where the message told them to go from earlier, that there is like a spot. And as they drive off into the sunset, that is where the movie ends. And that was This Is Not a Test. Yeah. So, this movie definitely has some things going on for it, like a character arc of somebody who didn't feel very clung to life, finding the will to live in a horrid situation such as a zombie apocalypse. That is something to admire. I do wish that that extension of character writing was given to the rest of the characters, because I can't tell you nothing about Carrie and other than relationships like Grace and Terry. I don't know what really sets them apart other than being siblings. I don't know anything about the boyfriend other than that he is some remote interest to Sloane to the extent of making out with him. Again, this is something that plagues so many horror movies, and it is a curse, I feel. It is not that hard to write characters. You just gotta give them some likes, some dislikes, some positive traits, some negative traits, maybe balance them out a little bit, some more than other, and there you go. You have your base character. That's all you have to do. And yeah, it can be a little bit complicated from time to time, but I'm saying, like, these things can be really quickly established. And yeah, sometimes it can come off as a trope. That is fine. It's better than just having flat characters that aren't even compelling. This is the worst of the worst scenarios. In that now, the only remarkable character in that regard is Sloane. She has an arc, and we tend to root for her through her situation. That is the cheat code, as it were. And maybe if I feel like to make the ending make a bit more sense, I don't see why they would have made the sister a zombie at the end of the movie. I feel like having the sister be alive would push her closer to wanting to live, obviously, as an extension of that. And, you know, the other extension of that is obviously the boyfriend. She's gained an additional person on top of the one she already cared about. But by losing her sister, it seems like that would set her backwards. At least sensible. That seems sensible, more sensible. But, you know, I guess some people are strange in that sort of sense. The whole bit with the teacher, I feel, was really just baffling. This is a moment where it feels like the characters are made to be a little bit more stupid when they understood the rules as biting equals the main source of infection. Seems to, one of the characters explicitly said that. They see a character who got bit, and then they proceed to let him leave and come back, getting bit a second time, and not even resolving the situation without encroaching on the body and then sacrificing another person in the process. All of that felt like it could have been avoided by either simply killing him the first time around, or by letting him live and then just killing him the second time around when he was secondly bit at a distance. 2 times. You had 2 chances and you fucked them both up. Like, it really is staggering when you get characters that make really stupid decisions. And when they double down on that stupid decision and do the exact same thing a second time, oof, that definitely hurts the movie. So definitely some character decisions needed to be reconsidered, a little bit more meat on the rest of the cast. There's quite a bit left for this movie left to pun intended, bite into. But I digress. This movie is like a very 5 out of 10. It's very meh. Maybe the book's a bit better. Who knows? I can't say. Never read it. But the movie didn't give me any interest to read it. That's probably the worst aspect of it. If the character writing had been stronger, mayhaps. But that is my review for This Is Not a Test, and if you ended up enjoying this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. Want to head you to my petition about small YouTubers, second to my PayPal, where you can help support me and my channel directly, and third to my Discord server. I'm going to join Collab Shield, that cool stuff for free, and until next time everyone, bye-bye.